there was something in that message that I never shared before. As I gave my testimony yesterday, the Lord gave me an enlightenment of something that He desired that I share with you. And so it continues today. In the intensive care unit that I was in on my deathbed, when everyone around me, all the doctors and specialists that came in, something had gone drastically wrong during surgery. There was an intern who cut something he wasn't supposed to. And so because of that, I was hemorrhaging profusely. So much so that as the doctors and nurses and everyone coming in and out of intensive care unit, they were slipping in the blood. The mattress was saturated. There was just blood everywhere. So they were just trying to keep me alive long enough to convince me to make plans for my family, mainly the newborn that I did not even have a chance to hold. So many of you have already heard that story. It's in the book that I wrote as well. What you didn't hear was how good I was prepared when I went in to the hospital. It was my 4th C-section, so I had it down. I knew what to expect. I knew what I was going to go through. I knew how long it was going to take. And I knew how I wanted to look. So I had 2 suitcases with me. I had my hot rollers. I had a new nightgown and slippers for every single day that my stay in the hospital. Back then, you used to be in for a week and a half to 2 weeks for a C-section. And so I had it all together, and I knew exactly how it was going to play out. And I had everything in control, I thought. I never imagined, not in the craziest moments of my life, would I be facing death. And I can't even impress on your hearts what it feels like when everyone you look up to, mainly your doctors and who you trust, says to you, there's no hope. At 29 years old, geared with my hot rollers and nightgowns for the entire hospital stay, a brand new nursery that I had sewn by myself, everything in right order, to say to me that there was no hope over and again, and pressuring me to make arrangements for my newborn and my 2 children at home. They had already called in my family. I can't even express what was going on in my heart and my mind. And all I could think of in those moments of looking into their eyes and realizing this is true, this is really happening to me. It's like those moments before you've been in a car accident. You know how everything seems to go slow motion? Everything's happening so fast, but it feels like slow motion, just trying to take that in and what is going on. I didn't go in there to have brain surgery or open heart surgery. I went in to have a baby. And to be told there was no hope. The knee-jerk reaction that came to me, in spite of all of my faults, in spite of the control that I thought that I had, what came to my heart is, where is my God and where is Our Lady? Because I believed with all of my heart and my soul and my mind and my body that what I was taught by my family and the sisters and growing up and my grandparents was true. That if you pray the Holy Rosary and if you wear the scapular of Our Lady, then in your hour of need, our Lord and Our Lady will be there. I expected that to happen. It wasn't happening. And I was engulfed in the blackest night of my life. I can't even tell you. You know, being in a tunnel with no light, it's worse than that. because I was in the grips of fear. And it was that fear, which comes from Satan, was being confirmed by every educated person standing at my bedside as they were slipping on the evidence that was being poured out. So the knee-jerk reaction was to begin to pray. And I did. Our Father who art in heaven, Hail Mary, full of grace, with great expectation, against all odds and all hope of what I was being told. God, in that fear initially, but then even though I was experiencing that internally, my will was overtaking that fear by doing what the soul who belongs to God is called to do, and that is to pray. Prayer is our conversation with God, and it's calling on the only one who is hope and can do anything in any given situation, or who would be the ones to take me home. I expected that. And in that prayer, Hail Mary, full of grace, God broke into that fear because the will was taking over and calling on God and Our Lady with inspirations, 2 life-saving inspirations on that deathbed for me. One was of my grandmother on her knees on a pilgrimage with us, crawling, begging God for healing for my aunt, and it was received. And the other was of my father on his knees in the backyard before the statue of Our Lady, way early in the morning when he got up to go to work. And as I was passing through the kitchen to go to the bathroom, I saw him out there in the backyard, on his knees, big, strong daddy, truck driver, business owner, the whole 9 yards, on his knees before the statue, where the neighbors could see if they chose. He didn't care. He wanted to say good morning and ask for her protection for that day. Those 2 memories came to me, and they gave me such strength to pray with every last ounce of energy that I had, and I did that. And it was then that Our Lady broke through the veil of heaven and came to my rescue. I don't know why. I have no answer for that. Don't know why some people die and others don't. I don't know. It's a grand mystery. Someday we all will know. All I know is that as I implored her to go before the throne of God, because on my own, I was dying. No matter how hard I was praying, no matter what I was doing, I was dying. They could not stop the hemorrhaging. They were just pumping blood in me to keep me alive to make those decisions. And so I knew in my heart of hearts that if Blessed Mother would go, Jesus would listen to her, because he has to listen to his mother. He cannot say no to his mom. She's queen. And she's full of grace. And he loves her way more than we will ever comprehend. And so someone so dear to the sacred and Eucharistic heart that is our God, the immaculate and pure heart of Our Lady, I knew that if she would ask him, stuff would happen. And so I asked her, not knowing that her mere appearance healed me. I didn't know that I was already healed, so I kept begging her. The 3rd time I cried out with everything in me, Blessed Mother, I beg you, go before the throne of God and beg for my life so that I may raise my family. That's all I cared about. I didn't care about anything else. And I told her that. I don't care if I never have a penny. And I really didn't, and I don't. I don't have much, but I don't care because I trust that God will take care of me. But I said that to her. I don't care if I never have a penny. I just want to raise my child. I too. And this is what got her heart. You want to get Blessed Mother's heart? Talk about her son. She listens. I said to her, even though I didn't see my son who died during childbirth, my firstborn, even though I didn't see him crucified and go through the horrific things that you had to endure, I lost my only son. And I can't have any more children. I beg you, go before the throne of God and beg for me. And that's when she, the Holy Mother of God, bent down to me. Not because I was special, because I'm not. I'm just average. Because she did the mom thing. She's a mother. And that's what we have to understand. She's a mother. She's my heavenly mother. She's your heavenly mother. And she's a tremendous intercessor for each one of us. And her greatest gift is her prayer. You know, when we think that, oh, I'll pray for you, if you really mean that when you say that to somebody, there's great power in intercession. It's all powerful. That's when she bent down to me and she touched me. That's what moms do when their kids are crying out, in torment especially. The world goes away. You can't hear anything else. You go crazy if you don't respond. You have to move. We all have heard many expressions of the mother bear and her cubs. You don't dare. Mary is no different from the mother bear defending her children. You and me. Mary bent down and she touched me. And I can't even begin to tell you what happened to me. Way more than what I even realized. I knew at that time then, that was my point of knowing that I was healed just from her touch. I knew it. I felt something physical happen to me. And I don't know what that is and what you call it, but I'm here. But even more important than that, I can tell you that today I know why I was born. I was born to share that message with you. Every day that you die to yourself for Christ, our beloved, is a day that you're more and more close to his Eucharistic heart. And you grow in great, great, honorable favor with Our Lady. My parting words, not even realizing, was, someday I will do something good for Jesus. In all the craziness of the intensive care room, to the horror of my doctors and family, I wanted to do something good. And that's what Mary does. A life of love for Our Lady and for our Lord causes us to be good people. Talking about true love. I'm not talking about false humility. I'm not talking about going through the Rubics and showing up at Mass and then advising your children to have abortion or engaging in pornography or spending your lifetime at the casino. That's not what I'm talking about. That's contrary. And where there is darkness, there is no light. Wake up. If you want to move a mountain, you've got to live the life and walk the walk with Mary and Jesus. And that doesn't mean a life without fun. Because any godly person who follows Christ with their life, married, single, whatever, truly in love, you cannot compare the joy that they have. Right? You can't compare it. A soul in love with our Lord and Our Lady feels their very existence in the movements of their life. And you cannot get that joy. You can't buy it. You can't go get it. Your drugs or addictions won't bring it. It's quite the opposite. It's when you sit humbly before Him, surrendering everything to Him and asking Mom for help every day throughout the day, in every little sacrifice that you make, be it your pain in your back, the sacrifices that you make of watching your children suffer, like my mom did, the separations that you endure, the persecutions, the hardships, the difficult marriages, the broken marriages, children going in different directions, all of that is like liquid gold. If we unite our hearts with Jesus and Mary, and we give it to the cross, Jesus on the cross. Saint Therese had great difficulty contemplating the mysteries of the Rosary. But she could offer that suffering, that humiliation as a nun, a Carmelite nun, not being able to contemplate the mysteries of the Rosary. It was horrible for her. But that horrible, she offered to Jesus. She would pick up a string off the carpet and offer that bending down to Jesus. Our life is a prayer if we choose to use it that way and not medicate it. Jesus purposefully, in our time, revealed to Saint Faustina, the one in heaven, his desire that on the image of divine mercy, he wanted inscribed on the bottom, Jesus, I trust in you. Why? Because he's calling us to it. He's calling us to trust in Jesus. Trust in him. And he's saying that over and again. Because the more we can ascend to heaven, the more we can raise up with trust to heaven, whatever we have in our heart, the greater Jesus descends with mercy. That's the formula. So what is he saying in that? He's saying, give it all to me. Everything. When you wake up in the morning and you have a migraine headache, or your back hurts, or you don't know how you're going to make ends meet this week, give it to Jesus. Give everything with great trust. And believe me, I've been in all of those situations. I can tell you firsthand, he comes through. I don't know how he does what he does, but he does it. You know, we think we understand everything. There's a world more that we have to learn. But all he's asking is one thing. And that one thing is to trust. And the only way some of us can do that is simply by beginning. Baby steps. Little bit trust, little bit more mercy. Little more trust, little more mercy. When you build in confidence of watching how the Lord comes through for you, and he answers all of our prayers, every prayer that we go to the Lord with through the intercession of Our Lady, it gets answered. It may not be what you want. I remember praying for my home when we were in the process of losing it. I can't even tell you the misery that we went through in trying everything we could possibly do, everything, to save our home. Every good thing and holy thing happened there. The kids made their first Holy Communions. We had their parties there, their engagements, all the way through. I wanted that house more than anything. I loved it. You know, when you drive down the street after 15 years, you know where everybody on the block lives and who's got company. Yes? And when you move from place to place, you don't know who belongs there and who doesn't, who the strangers are. But you know what? That was a sweet suffering for me. After I lost the house, I didn't understand. He gave me options, but I took the narrow path because I had a strong sense in my heart that if I went down that narrow path, as painful and prickly as it was going to be, something very holy was going to come out of it. And it did. The immediate relief was that I was relieved of the horror of the fight of trying to pay everything and do everything that was impossible. We just couldn't afford it. We had a couple of very hard hits, and we had to give up. We had to let go. And we did. And there was great relief that came after that. The sweet part about it is what I experienced the few years afterwards. I had a very keen sense of what Our Lady and our Lord and that new baby, Jesus, had to go through, and they had to leave Egypt, leave Bethlehem, and the flight into Egypt. And that was nothing like their flight at all. But just something of leaving your home. There's just something about that. There's a sorrow in that. I entered into that with Our Lady. Michael entered into that with our Lord and with St. Joseph. And the very, very difficult and scary things as a husband, as the man and the bread earner and the family had to suffer. He wanted me to have our home. He wanted me to have all the good things that we enjoyed in the past. It wasn't possible. And I had to be strong. And I had to tell him it was okay and that we were going to make it. Did I know that? Hell no. But I trusted that Jesus would take us through it. And he did. And look where I'm at. I have the greatest neighbor. I live upstairs in that apartment place above where all the offices are, and I love it. Some things are hard because I'm always at work, it feels like, but I love it. And I can come down whenever I want and talk to Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. Who has Jesus as his neighbor? Okay. You can't get sweeter than that, yes? That's the sweet part of the suffering. And God gives us all sweetness. Even during the suffering, his presence, if we turn to him. And great rewards afterwards. The reward is not always here on earth. The retirement benefits cannot be beat. They're excellent. The ultimate goal where we all want to be one day is with him and to be together. Okay, so the message from the Lord. May I have a Kleenex, please? Thank you. This is what Jesus says. Take this to your heart and live this message. Let it resonate. It's on page 147 of my book. In me, my children, Jesus says, there is hope. I call you to offer hope and to help those around you and those in need. You must trust me. So he's not even asking you anymore. The times have changed. He's saying, you must. You must trust me. I will supply all your needs. You know those 2 luggages that I took into the hospital with me? with my hot rollers and all the pretty nightgowns and matching slippers and all of that. It had absolutely no meaning to me at all. And they said I wasn't going to make it. What was I going to do with hot rollers and nightgowns on my deathbed entering into eternity? They served no stinking purpose. It was superfluous. I will fulfill your need, the only thing that would save me, and grant me the grace that I was imploring God for, to raise my children myself, could only come from heaven. I couldn't find that in those 2 suitcases of control. I will fulfill you so that you can help others onward through their journey. There is a massive secret here. When we are in suffering, and we go and push beyond that suffering to serve others, to help out, to do something for someone else, oftentimes it's in the midst of that travel that healing comes. And we are walking through it, and then we realize, oh my God, it doesn't hurt anymore. Or we get good news that we've been waiting to hear. It's in serving. It's receiving Jesus through the Eucharist and humbling ourselves before God in the sacrament, the tribunal of His mercy, reconciliation, that is empowered by these great sacraments and source of all holiness and grace. We go out and we serve, and it's in the midst of that that great stuff happens. That's the secret. Do not worry or be anxious, for I am here with you. Do not be anxious, for I am here with you. Okay. So if something's hurting really bad, be it physical or in your heart or emotional, He's saying, do not become anxious. When we are anxious, we lose our peace. When we lose our peace, we can't think straight. We're like scrambling around like a spinning top, instead of looking to the cross and uniting with Him and watching Him of what He's going to do. Either great graces are coming, always great graces are coming. A prayer will be answered. One way or another, prayers are answered. Trust in me. I will never abandon you. Now, and this is just an example that's in my mind that I can share with you to give you some understanding. In the process of losing our home, at that point of my life, I thought it was the worst thing that could happen to somebody. Right? You understand that? It's like going through some turmoil. It's like the worst thing that can... You lose your job. How are you going to support your family? What are you going to do? It's the worst thing in that moment. You find out some sickness, bad news, whatever it is. What are you going to do? It's the worst thing that can happen. But Jesus says, I will never abandon you. And with Him, the outcome will be perfect. If we are united with Him, the outcome will be perfect. Because He knows us better than ourselves. And then finally, be honorable people. You want to have a blessed life? Be honorable people. One divine mercy morning, the Lord awoke me to speak those very words to His people on Divine Mercy Sunday. Be honorable people. If there is something extra in your grocery bags that you did not pay for, or got mixed up with somebody else's stuff, and you realize it, take it back. Not because Myers is going to be shortchanged $2. It's not going to break their bank, but it's going to break your bank. your spiritual bank in heaven, because you know it and God knows it. Is it the most grievous sin? No. You didn't purposely commit a sin. However, a person of honor would not want anything that is not theirs. Take it back. Why? Not only for yourself, but for the person who receives from you those baggies. Oh my goodness. This person came all the way back and returned something that it wasn't even their fault. They didn't steal it. It was put in. Wow. In this world, there really are good people. You raise and edify that person. And you also teach that person of what it means to be honorable. St. Francis of Assisi had a perfect saying, go and preach, maybe use words. Means live by example. Grandmas and grandpas, if you don't want your grandchildren sleeping around, moving in with each other before marriage, you don't do it either, regardless of your, whatever you call that, your money that you get every month, your Social Security. You hate to lose your Social Security check? You want to burn in hell. Your choice. Hell, Social Security. Hell, Social... You know, at a certain age in life, be good friends. Don't sleep together. You're no different from the teenagers that are fornicating. It's the truth. Gentlemen, you want your wives to love you? Treat them as daughters of Christ. Not as objects or sexual beings. Love them according to your state in life. Treat them like holy women. And women act like godly women. Honor your husband. Men have a rough time in this world today at the hands of many women. Not appreciating the kindnesses and the responsibilities. Goes both ways. If we would honor and respect each other again, great mercies would come to all of us. Great healing. And so the message is, trust Jesus and be honorable. Be merciful and kind and patient. And all the things Sister taught you in Catholic school, they're true. Just do them. God will bless you. I'll close with a prayer intention. One time I received, in the light of this message about being honorable people, this woman came in and asked for prayer. And so, as I was praying with her, I had this check in my spirit, I called it, because she was praying for this man that she wanted to marry. And so something just didn't feel right. And I just asked her, you know, is there something, some kind of, I have a sense of something off here. She goes, no, he's a good man. He's a fireman. He lives across the street. And I'm thinking, And she said, he's married right now, but he's thinking about getting a divorce, and I'm just praying. I said, shame on you. Shame on you. But how many times have I heard of men or women still married or separated, pining after someone they have no right to? The covenant of holy matrimony is a lifetime covenant. And if things aren't going too well, work harder. Push through it. If you talk to anybody who's been married for more than 20 years, 25 years, you'll realize that once you get over a certain point, you really do enjoy each other's company. Yes, you do. Especially when they're visiting their friends. No, but come on. It is true. Mike and I, spaghetti, linguine, you know, and mustacholi, you know the story. We're polar opposites. Couldn't be two more polar opposite people in the world than me and Mike. And we sure had our battles and duked it out by words. But you know, you get past those times, and as you grow older together, we're not old, I'm 50, 60, 64. We still sometimes, you know, whatever, get past it, whatever. Okay, it's not worth the argument, just do what you want, right? It's not worth it. But the joy of getting along and saying, okay, all right, so you've had mustacholi 3 times, and it's Sunday, and it's got to be mustacholi again. No, I don't think so. I really want it. So he'll put mustacholi in the same pot with the linguine, and some of it gets mixed up anyway. Whatever. It's good. It's very good. You put sauce on it and good Italian cheese, and it goes down the same way. It's good. Nothing on this earth is easy. Jesus never said it would be easy. He said it's doable, and by my grace, every good thing will come out of it. And I wouldn't trade him for anybody. You know something? I never had to worry about my husband looking at other women. I never had that worry. I don't know what you call it, but something in his heart and in my heart told me that I was the only one. And still today, I don't know, 38 or whatever, how many years we're married, I know it's true. I know I'm still the only one. And I'm not the easiest person to live with. I like to pray all the time. I like to be with the sisters. I have a ministry that I'm very active in. He would like to go dancing and do other things, and once in a rare occasion, we do stuff like that, or we'll go to the show if it's a good one. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yep. It's life. You make it work. One day it's up, the next day it's down, you know, whatever. It's good. It's life. But we don't ever give up. We don't give up on God. We don't break our covenants with God. We be people of honor, and we are blessed. That's how it happens. Trust and be a people of honor. Let go. You don't need to control anything. You don't need it. We don't need it. God will take care of everything. Our Lady is there as a constant, vigilant, good mom waiting for us to go before her Son. God bless you, and God bless your families, all of you. Pray for all of us, and I'm so happy to be here with you, and thank you for everything.